guys watched my last video on my reaction to the amazing Digital Circus episode 6? Yes, you! Even you! Hear me out! I saw the views and the comments! But oh my gosh, the comments! I think some people assumed I hate Jax because he's mean and irredeemable? And it seems like some thought I reacted very unfairly towards him. I respectfully disagree, and I really doubt you watched the video before commenting. To be fair, it has the clickbaity Jax hater in the title and thumbnail. It's also 53 minutes long! I do not blame you! So today, I'll sum it up for y'all. Let's read some interesting comments and discuss them! Civil conversation time! First, before anything, I want everyone to watch this part. Right here. This is an excerpt from the literal first 35 seconds from my previous video. And I am also a big Jax hater. It's not that I dislike him as a character, it's that his insecurities are honestly a little similar to my insecurities, and I want him to die. I wish he dies. Anyways, moving forward, I'm going to speak with a mutual understanding that I don't like Jax because his character traits remind me of my negative traits and insecurities, and I cringe. I want him to die just as much as I'd want myself to be shot multiple times point blank if I was in the circus. I don't want him to abstract, that's different and that's scary. As much as I'd like to throw up and die, let's talk about those insecurities. First off, let's just stop with the idea that Jax is ontologically evil.
I know exactly what you're doing with Pomni. It'll never work.
Huh?
You know, getting close with Pomni. To corrupt her.
Corrupt. I don't even think that, and I doubt many people do at this point. Good versus bad is a fantasy idea made for kids to learn basic morals or to put a name for mass suffering imposed by political figures, not something actually real for people. So, why does he act the way he does? Good for us, this was explained very clearly in episode 6, at least the version Jax is willing to share.
It's 'cause it's funny.
That is
I
true.
do everything 'cause it's funny. 'Cause I'm the funny one.
Okay, you're not all right.
Funny one?
Yeah.
You're kind of annoying, bro.
Ragatha's the cheerful one, Gangle's the sad one, Kinger's the
sad
crazy one, Zubal's the grumpy one, and you are the one who hasn't figured that out yet.
I
We
like
all
this
just
face.
became archetypes.
These all are like surface level understandings of them, and they're not really deep at all. If he detaches real emotions and real stakes from this universe and pretends it's all just cartoon characters acting in a one-dimensional way, he's not going to get attached to others, and others won't be attached to him. Theoretically, it hurts to invest your entire soul for the people around you just for them to wrong you, betray you, hurt you, just for you to wrong them, betray them, hurt them. It hurts thinking about the grave consequences of your own actions, wondering about questions that will never be answered over and over again. Then, why care at all? Does something material change through compassion? Does it rid of past sins save people from the demise? No, life is just a ticking time bomb. It feels much better to smile and throw said time bomb in someone's face. Which is also why it interests me how many Jax defenders tend to seem emotionally attached to this guy. The opposite I understand, but seeing so many people with a very different mindset from Jax defending and supporting him. Would he do the same to a colleague like that? A classmate? A girl, a boy, a senior, a boss? If so, I'm happy of the world's open-mindedness. That's probably one step closer to something good. There's no fun, catchy segue from that, so let's start talking about guilt. I think guilt looms the narrative. Not just Jax, but the entirety of the amazing Digital Circus. Abstraction seems like an allegory for depression with the popular negative portrayal giving up phrase from Zubal and Jax describing it as not fun to be around. Death is a fantasy exit that doesn't exist. Jax is being consumed by this guilt. We see this most clearly through his reactions to Ribbit, Kaufmo, and Pomni. Even if he causes antics and tortures the people around him for fun, the second somebody does that to him, he can't react with the same aggression. Deep down, he believes that he deserves it, that he's not on equal footing as everyone else. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that he hurts others for the sole purpose of others to hurt him back. It's an equivalent exchange that he can rationalize and serves as a front to a scenario in which he didn't hurt others intentionally but still received hurt. On the contrary, receiving affection is scary. It means real stakes, real emotions. It almost feels violent in nature in contrast with a comforting, real aggression. You feel like a fraud when you know you can't respond with the same loving compassion and inequivalent exchange. But sadly, even by jumping through this many hoops and suppressing emotional response as much as possible, humans are probably hardwired to be social creatures. When there's someone empathetic and open-minded enough, there's this unconscious desire for self-disclosure to open the curtains for a millimeter and have a normal, human, serious conversation. But you regret it the next day. Why would you show that you're weak? It breaks the perfect image. Distance yourself from the person and the cycle repeats over and over. It sucks, but you can survive with the least damage to yourself with this method at the cost of everybody around you. Or at least until you truly can't take it anymore. I think the kindest thing an onlooker could do for Jax is to hop on his facade whether they believe it or not, get mad at his antics, and stop probing further at all. Listen to him vent and be serious for a second, but completely forget that the next day. But that's unrealistic. To the point where even Pomni refuses to do so. Which is why we analyze and discuss Jax. As much as it hurts for me to do, as it requires my own self-reflection and slicing open my biggest flaws, it's intriguing and it's fun, especially with the community. Now, let's respond to the comments! Kill yourself right now! Okay, let's respond to some other comments. Okay, so this is where the comments are. I'm gonna respond them from oldest to newest. So I'm gonna have to scroll all the way down for this. Here's the deal. Jax, in my opinion, is the most complex character among the cast. I disagree because might be just me, but I see the characters as all individual human beings. Whether or not they are shown to be multifaceted, I believe they're multifaceted. And for humans, I don't think people are more complex than other people. So, in my opinion, I think everyone's very complex, but I get what you mean though. I don't want to nitpick your thing. I just explain what I think, but literally calculating more than one theme and subject within his character, like out of them all, he has quite a nuanced element on him, for his mindset, ideals, outlook, style, coping, psychology, and so forth. Yeah, and frankly, the thing about Jax is simply, if you hate him, you either saw a reflection of yourself in him. Yes, this is me, and I did mention this in the first 35 seconds of the video. Sorry, not to nitpick you again, but I just want to restate that. Yes, I tried to make it clear. I could have made it more clear by restating throughout, but yeah. Knows a person like him dealt with something like him, and in addition, since you want him to game over server, it follows the prior theory above, just add in that to the sentence of the theory mentioned. Yeah, I want him to, when I say I want him to die, it is also in the fandom way. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I feel like I'm too Deltarune brain, where people are like, oh my gosh, I hate Burley, he should die Lomao, or haha, Spamton, yeah, Spamton is the easiest example. It's oh my gosh, I will burn Spamton, he should rot in hell. But that person that's saying that is the biggest Spamton lover ever, that kind of way. It's I don't, when I say oh, he should die, I want him to disappear from the narrative because it makes me uncomfortable. Not that that's actually going to happen, or I wish for that to happen in the story. I don't want him to abstract. And I feel or it may be just me, but I feel there's a big difference in death and abstraction. Death is so much more inconsequential. Death is the disappearance of consciousness, but abstraction is keeping that consciousness to some level while being trapped underground with so many other conscious minds for eternity. And that's so severe, and that is a real thing that can happen in the show. But death, as far as we know, and as far as we've seen in episode 6, death cannot happen at all. I thought we would see something similar to death versus abstraction, but there wasn't, so I'm just guessing death is just not gonna be a concept at all. Yeah. But yeah, that's also why I say it, because it's very unrealistic. He's not going to die, that's not gonna happen. He's either gonna keep on living in the digital circus or abstract, and for people who sympathize or defend him, where once like him knows of the person like him but couldn't help him, sees people like them IRL but just looks on giving their opinions, nothing more, have helped them before. This is very kind. Yeah, I really appreciate people that are like that. But overall, he's a really good written character. I do agree. I also said that in the beginning. Regardless of if you hate or love him, his fiction in the first place, he does the role and performs very well, even brought out topics people brush off in real life, but be it themselves or others. So true. The only other time I saw a character like this similar to my own negative traits, where I saw like a negative reflection of myself in, is Hoshino Ai from Oshinoko. And it's interesting because I don't look at her and cringe, while I look at Jax and cringe. And I think it's because Jax, in the Amazing Digital Circus, we see a lot behind the scenes. We see his true emotions, we see him open up. But in Oshinoko, you never see that. It's only done in a very specific, there's this excerpt that was written for the show that's not in the official manga, that's not in the official anime, but it exists, and it's like an official story about a girl that was in the same idol group as I when she was active, where they have like a little talk at the park at night, and that was literally the only time she ever said her real like self out loud. She didn't even say it to her boyfriend at the time. Like, sorry, I'm rambling on about Oshinoko, but basically what I'm trying to say is that I don't see a lot of representation like that. So when I do, it just like stops me in my tracks. I'm like, what the hell? What do they know? And then it's scary. But no, I agree. Occult Griswork said Jax will do something unforgivable, but everyone will hate him. At first I thought this was it, but it didn't. I don't think it's this. I think it's what he did in the past. I think, you know how when he's crashing out, it's like, yo, everyone did that. He said something like that. It's like, hey, why are you saying this to me when everybody did that? And it sounds like it's very specific. I don't think it's the cough mode jokes thing. I don't think it's that. I think it's really specific, and probably specific to Ribbit. So yeah, I think we'll see that later on. It's more so people are no longer leaning on hating, but just being either sympathetic or pity. So I'm guessing it's in the next episode where we see either Backstory or Ribbit, perhaps. Yes, I agree. Or maybe this is a bit dark. What if it'll be something pertaining to an act, maybe ending one character's story permanently? Yes! It could be, to answer a death question on the show. I think it'll be more abstract. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see a death instead of abstraction, but that's not in the rules. But I don't know. I think something will happen with Zubul. I'm scared about Zubul. I don't think it's gonna be Ragatha anymore. I feel like it's Zubul. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm scared. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't get why anyone can hate Jax. I get he's annoying, but that's kind of petty. Imagine hating a fictional character that's meant to represent a specific type of people's struggle.